So today, Donald Trump said that he's going to leave it up to governors to go in to decide whether they're going to come back to business as usual, which is a nice way of saying, hey, it's going to be your fault. Who could have ever expected this from a president whose main mantra is, the buck stops over there? The plan is to let each state decide if they want to go back to opening up, starting on May 1st. Now, if you'll recall, just 2 days ago, Dr. Anthony Fauci said that our plans to reopen on May 1st were optimistic at best. So, yikes. Oh, but don't worry, Dr. Anthony Fauci was definitely missing from today's announcement. At this point, we're all just kind of playing Yahtzee and seeing what happens. So you know what? Let's just enjoy the show while we're still making it. You're watching Really Late Night. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Really Late Night, a show that's now been declared an essential business. I know the world sucks sometimes, but don't worry, I read the news, so you don't have to. Our top story. Michelle Obama is pushing for the expansion of mail-in voting. Namely, she's trying to mail in any appearances she needs to make for Joe Biden. Donald Trump announced that he will cut off funds for the World Health Organization, mostly because he thinks it's pronounced who? Why would we give them money if nobody knows what they're named? Dr. Fauci says that he endorses Tinder hookups as long as participants are willing to take the risk. So in essence, anybody who uses Tinder. Truckers now claim that they are having a hard time finding rest stops and bathrooms. Luckily, most drivers stop in Las Vegas, where the entire city is a bathroom. On the plus side, they're getting a lot better at aiming inside that Gatorade bottle. A Florida judge told lawyers that they must still get dressed for court even when they appear on Zoom calls. To be fair, though, getting dressed up in Florida can be as simple as wearing that t-shirt you didn't do meth in. Joe Exotic's music has seen a huge surge in Denmark. Denmark, where the healthcare is free, but the music will kill you. New Jersey police are accusing a man from Florida of ordering thousands of pizzas from multiple restaurants with no intention of paying. Said the Florida man, "Why would I pay? There's no way a New Jersey pizza could get here in under 30 minutes. Idiots. A new study suggests that the coronavirus has affected the sleep of over 77% of Americans, which couldn't possibly be true, because the voice of Brainy Smurf died over the weekend, giving all other Smurfs the blues. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. It says Smurfs now have crippling depression. I mean, Smurfing depression. And finally, TMZ notes that Chippendales dancers are now offering virtual lap dances. Sadly, they still come with the same number of viruses. And that'll do it for our monologue. And you know, before we do the crossover, back in the day, we actually used to have music play as we go. Now, the unfortunate part is all of those things are copyrighted songs, but it turns out during this pandemic, a lot of people have turned to DJs on Instagram, sometimes having battles with each other. And it seems like people are really in need of good news. So we thought we'd reach out to the leading expert of both DJing and good news to provide us some crossover music. One, DJ Good News. DJ Good News, how are you, sir?
Yo, Raph, what's up, man? How's it going? It's DJ Good News on the ones and twos. Coming up with good news to put you in a good mood. I got some great things to drop on you, Raph, because the way I look at it, man, there's a lot of stuff going on in the coronavirus world, but we want to be here spinning for you to make it right, you know? So let's get into it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, hey, Raph, you know, here's the thing, man. The way I look at it, you know, 4 days of rain means 3 days of sunshine, am I right? And 1 month of quarantine means 11 more months of winter. We're not going to stop till we get this going, all right? Who's ready with me?
I think we are.
Yeah, you know, we got all sorts of stuff we're looking at right now, you know. I mean, there's tons of good news in the world. You know, I've already had a whole pot of coffee and, you know, I already got a thing of blackberry jam, which means we're going to keep jamming all night long. Don't stop there. Let's keep it moving. Here we go.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Let's get into it. You know, this says world leaders are warning that the economic recovery will be slow. I think you know what that means. It's time to slow things down. What do you say?
Okay. You know what? Thank you very much for all of your help, DJ Good News. Maybe we'll check in with you a little bit later.
Yeah, there we go. We got some good stuff coming in for you, Raph.
I've got some great news for you. I don't know how we always get this guy, but we did it once again, and we are stoked to have the former president of the United States on the line right now. I know, yes, that's right. We have Mr. President Barack Obama on the line right now. Thank you for returning with us, sir. It is truly an honor to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you. Ref, I just called to say, as someone who's been a fan of yours for a long time, just how courageous I think you are for doing your show while in the deepest throes of COVID-19. Even though the coronavirus has ravaged your once youthful appearance, you somehow endure with a fraction of your former verve and vigor.
Well, thank you, Mr. President Barack Obama. That's very kind of you to say. Now, Mr. President Barack Obama, sir, as long as I have you here, we have to talk about the endorsement of your former VP, Joe Biden, for president.
Yes, Ralph, I'm fired up. Oh, boy. I am fired up to play some Animal Crossing right now with Richard Branson. But in our version, the people and animals are real and living in Latvia. Do you want in?
For sure. Later, Mr. President Barack Obama. Sir, you won't talk about your endorsement right now? It's kind of a big deal.
Oh, come on, Ralph. We're on the internet right now. Joe Biden won the vote so far of 10 million people, not a single one of whom could even turn on a computer. Believe it or not, I've got Facebook friends who watch this shit. Hang on. Hold on 1 minute. What's that, Michelle? Did I invite him to the Illuminati Zoom mixer? Who do you think I'm talking to? Jay Leno? I can't. Great. Now Michelle Obama's not talking to me. Thanks a lot, Ralph.
Mr. President, sir, I'm very sorry. Listen, I just think it's kind of strange that you're not on here getting people excited for Joe Biden.
Okay, fine, Ralph. I was going to wait until I was on Joe Rogan to do this, but I do have another endorsement speech just for my young progressive friends on Facebook and Twitter that ought to preserve my cool cred. If I could just please.
By all means, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Joe Rogan. Hello, friends. It's your old pal, Barry. As you know, if there were any justice in the world, Andrew Yang would already be president. But because of Hillary Clinton, there isn't. And he's not. Nancy Pelosi is a Republican, and Joe Biden is just Donald Trump without his fat suit on. Don't vote this November.
Sir, you can't be serious. You're just writing them off and telling them what they want to hear. What about their votes? Don't they matter?
Not really.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. President Barack.
Oh, hang on, Ralph. Before I go, please, I just got to ask, did you miss me?
Sir, and I mean this in every way possible. I really did.
Thanks, old friend. You know, sometimes an ex-president just needs to hear it. Now, good God, get some rest. You look awful.
Mr. President Barack Obama, everybody.
And I'll see the rest of you folks at Planet Hollywood Malta.
And let's do the walkover now. All right. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. I'm so excited to bring you.
Hey, Raph, we got nothing but good news for you, man. We're gonna go
looks
ahead
like
and
DJ Good News is back.
keep it live. You know, we've been DJing there for 49 hours straight. We're not gonna slow down. We're gonna keep it going. I haven't changed clothes, I haven't showered, and I don't plan to. Not while we got these beats.
That sounds like a bad plan.
I don't know if you saw this, Raph, but it says the NFL said that they're gonna relax the regs on marijuana. Oh wow, you know what that means? It means your favorite players are gonna be a little bit more chill this next time around. Let's go ahead and spin something for them, yeah?
We don't need to spin anything for anybody right now. Like, I think we're kind of good. Like, you can take a break, dude.
Oh yeah. Okay, I like the way that one's banging, yeah. Hey, Raph, I don't know if you heard this one, man. Bernie Sanders said that he's endorsing Joe Biden, which means you don't have to pick who's going to lose to Donald Trump anymore. We're going to go ahead and keep this spinning all night long. Let's get into it.
Thank you so much for all of your help today. We sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. A big round of applause to our good friend, DJ Good News. You know, one of the biggest concerns right now amidst the coronavirus is that of safety. Gun sales are through the roof as many Americans are fearing for their lives. Right now, we are happy to bring on one of our former staff members to come and chat with us.
Fired staff members, Ref.
Okay, listen, we all had to make some cutbacks because of the coronavirus, and many of which were unfortunate.
Right. No, right. Noticed you kept all your liberal writing staff members, though.
Well, we kept the ones that could read. Anyway, that's not the important thing. Kev, I understand that right after we fired you, you got a job anyway. Aren't you working for the NRA, and don't they pay better than we do?
Yeah, I really know how to pick them. No, they don't pay better. I went from one sinking ship to another, because in case you're just not listening to podcasts, the NRA's bankrupt. The day I got here, they said, here's all the ammunition you can fire, but your upcoming colonoscopy is uncovered elective surgery. I'm only here, if I'm being honest, because you fired me. I was your sports guy. What am I supposed to talk about now? That stupid game of horse? My colonoscopy had more fight and competition, but I already sold those rights to Fox Sports, which, look for that, by the way. I don't know how many people are watching.
I definitely will. Okay, listen, I understand you're here to talk about something that can potentially save thousands of American lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I must say it is great to be here to talk about one of the issues the lamestream media is completely ignoring. The attack on guns by the Democrats and the scientific community.
Okay, yes, I understand right now. People are concerned with their at-home safety, right?
I'm not just talking about their Second Amendment rights. I'm pissed that not even once, not one time, has a gun been recommended by the CDC as a vaccine to this unfortunate pandemic.
What?
Truth is, the only thing that stops a bad virus that kills is a good virus with a gun. It's storming our homes, kidnapping our wives, giving our dogs nightmares for months. Not in my house, because I'm protected by the right hand of God. An AR-15.
Okay, let me see if I...
Virus-free.
Okay,
Woo!
I got you. Let me see if I understand you correctly. Are you really trying to imply that the best way to beat the coronavirus is to arm a similar set of coronaviruses with tiny handguns?
Tiny assault rifles. You can literally print them out with well, it's a smaller 3D printer. It's not tiny, but it does the job.
I'm sorry, listen, I have to stop you here because I don't want people to get...
Of course you do. Of course you do. Bill Gates already put the chip in your head.
No, he hasn't. That's a whole thing that's been debunked.
I represent 5 million people. And more importantly, I represent the truth the liberal media, including yourself, won't tell everyday Americans. Please ask me what the truth. You won't say it?
I don't want to.
No, you got to. Just ask real quick, what's the truth?
All right, Kevin.
It started in 1776 when the British said, we're going to tax your guns. And we said, nope, no yang. Andrew Jackson fought several wars for our guns with the Aztecs when we were starting to look at cell phone technology. JFK had anti-gun stuff. We saw what happened there. Independence Day is a documentary. And I apologize if I get a sexual charge here, but it is exciting. How's Oprah involved? Oprah, Phil Jackson, the triangle offense. Everyone knows that was her idea. John Mayer will be the next president of the NRA. Mark my words. Don't get me started on the World Health Organization, especially right now. Phil Jackson creates the Illuminati. Have you ever heard of a game called Jenga, but with grenades? Of course you haven't, because we're not allowed to have any fun in this country anymore. What's the third eye? Is it a triangle? Is that someone open for a jumper on the top of my forehead? Phil Jackson. Global warming. And then it's Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire. I forgot entirely how this started or why we got here, but
yeah, okay. Yep, I think we're good. Thank you very much. Kevin T. something, I appreciate
Viruses don't kill people, Raph. People kill people. Let America defend itself with guns.
Thank you very much for your report, Kevin T. Phillips. Now, guys, I didn't want to give too much away on this one, but we are stoked. We have an amazing interview coming up right now that I cannot wait for you guys to get on over. Hey, Hey, DJ Good News?
Hey, Ref, I don't know if you saw this one, man, but it says here that Governor Cuomo in New York City. Hey, that's right, that's New York City. Hey, that's New York City. Hey, that's New York City.
Yeah, I think we got it.
All right. Says Governor Cuomo in New York City says that New York says that the worst is over, and that means it's just a couple more weeks of crippling fear for you out in Los Angeles, and then things will hopefully get a little bit back to normal. Just hang in there, Ref. We're gonna keep it spinning for you the whole time.
All right, thank you very much, DJ Good News, for all that you've been able to do for us. We very much appreciate it. But ladies and gentlemen, I didn't want to give this away up top. I know we've had a jam-packed show all the way through, but I think we've been saving our biggest interview for right now. I don't know how we landed it, but we have landed the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases top spokesperson. That's right, the leading expert of all things going on right now, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci, so good to see you here today.
Good to be with you.
I know we don't have you for a lot of time here. You're making the rounds in all the talk shows, but can you tell us when can we expect to get back to normal? Hey, DJ Good News? Yeah, you're still on our feed. Could we get you to go ahead and stop that?
What's that?
You could just press the mute button.
No, man, I can't hear you. What?
Hang up on us. I'm kind of in the middle of a very important interview right now.
What's that? You want me to cut it? You want me to cut it off?
I literally need you to stop. I've only got Dr. Fauci for like 2 minutes today.
As was predicted, this is going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that for you, real problem. But I'm gonna tell you right now, we got to get right back into it. Can't let the jam stop, man. We got to keep it going. Let's get into it.
This is inconvenient, but we just have to do it.
Dr. Fauci, I'm very sorry. This never has happened before on one of our interviews.
Just forge ahead.
Okay, last question. I'm just gonna say this. What is it that we need to expect before economies reopen up? DJ Good News, for the love of God, could you just...
Well, I'm gonna leave you with this one right here, real quick. Let's keep it going for the doctors, yeah?
For sure.
DJ Good News, putting you in a good mood. Stick with it, Raf. You're doing good things.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, I'm assuming we're out of time.
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Good to be with you.
I doubt that. Our thanks to both Dr. Anthony Fauci and DJ Good News. When we come back, we're going to have our guest, our good friend, Jerry Rocha. In our never-ending quest to catch up with all of our friends, one of the things that's so great about coronavirus, there aren't many, is the fact that we sit here, we get to relax, we get to chill, but then we see our friends producing really, really good content. And when I see a man who did our show years ago singing a lovely ballad on what looked like a ukulele, and it made me think, like, there's a side of this man that we never got to see. Obviously, he's doing podcasts. You can catch him on The Ramble, which is his own very own podcast. But then he's also playing video games, and in watching you guys help him get through the sacrifice of one Super Mario losing Yoshi, it's a whole thing. Why don't we go ahead and bring back on our good friend, Jerry Rocha. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me. And it was a mandolin. That's what I decided to start to learn, was a mandolin. I don't know why I went mandolin, but I'm like, you know what? Let me learn to play this.
It's the Nick Cage movie. Nobody remembers Justin Corelli's mandolin. But Jerry,
Exactly.
when did you decide you were going to unleash that voice? Because when you came on our show, there was literally no sort of clue or breadcrumb that, like, damn, he's got a good voice.
Well, thank you. I didn't know. I feel bad. I could have been like your John Davidson. You know what I mean? I could have been the guy we do an interview, I tell some jokes, and then I go and sing a number. I don't know why we didn't do this.
Because I got to tell you,
I could have been that.
If I had a full bit of doing, guitar work and a voice, you better believe I would be working that into every single... Oh, my guitar, it's just right here. Don't mind me. I'll pick this back up.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, I just been doing it for fun. It's been driving my girlfriend crazy. And what really pisses her off is that her mom is like, oh, I like it when he plays and sings. I'm like, and that makes her even twice as angry. My girlfriend.
Pretty cute,
so
though, especially to be like, ha ha, see, I'm cute and talented.
Stop. I don't know about that, but thank you.
No, I'm not. I'm speaking as you in that scenario. I'm not saying you're cute from my perspective. Just want to make sure.
Good.
Let's talk about what's going on behind you, because I'm impressed. I've seen these things in bits and pieces, and also in the process, I see Galactus shooting out at me. with Doctor Doom
Yep.
leading the charge. The spacing of it is also very, very well articulated here. Tell me how this collection has come together.
This started when I moved to LA. I didn't bring my boxes of action figures that I grew up with. So I was like, there's a void that needs filling. And I just started slowly collecting mainly Marvel and Star Wars figures. And to the point where, I don't know if you can see, let me try to lift this guy up here, but I even have like an entire diorama with the X-Men fighting. And yeah, like I went crazy, and that's what I've been.
I'm gonna go down to that next, but I want to stick all the way up top right with, or is it top left to you, with the X-Men, because to me, the picturesque of Apocalypse with Warren Worthington flying above is so beautifully placed.
And Storm fell. I gotta fix her. Storm kind of took a dive, but she's. I gotta tape her up in a minute. But yeah, there. Yeah, I was like, dude, I went nuts. I went to like an arts and crafts store. I bought these little like pyramid bricks to make like a pyramid thing. I downloaded a one of those, what do they call it, no license images of a desert. I printed that, and then I taped it to this back little Billy shelf, and then I have like a, so basically the X-Men are fighting Apocalypse in Egypt next to a pyramid, and then if you can see over here, Magneto, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch are coming in to actually help the X-Men.
No way.
Yes, I went crazy with this. Yeah,
this detail is my favorite thing in the world right now. I'm gonna obsess over this. This is better than the last two X-Men movies combined. Let's just say that.
Thank you. Right here.
Because I like, the worst part is like, you know how much something has to suck for you to long for the subtlety of the animated series of being like, listen, y'all. I love the animated series, but if Jeremy or Jason Isaacs would have been like, I'm the Apocalypse, I would have been like, that's a better voice. I don't even care, dude. That's
better.
Super.
That's better.
Oh my god.
And then this Phoenix shit was like, it was. Oh man, it just. Look, it had each one. Here's the problem: each one of those has a few moments because every now and again they nail some pretty cool scene with the characters we know and love. But for the most part, it's like, when's this over? When is this going to be done? Yeah, like this is. That's why I can't wait for them to just be introduced in the Marvel universe, because Marvel seems to be knowing what they're doing. So I just can't wait for that to happen.
I just guested on Jay Light's podcast, and he asked me to bring a movie that I didn't like. And I brought X-Men The Last Stand. And, I really hated that movie. Like, really hated. And in revisiting it all these years later, that's the third one. But in revisiting it, I couldn't help but think, like, oh my God, this isn't even the worst anymore. They got worse than this. I just hate this.
Got worse. You know what I think is even worse, and he's my favorite character, maybe that's why, is the Wolverine Origins movie. I was like, this is worse than X3. This was just a pile of... And now, Logan was tremendous, but the Wolverine movie, the first Wolverine solo movie, was a hunk of shit. It should have been the opening credits. It should have been him and Sabretooth throughout time fighting each other. That little opening credit scene, I'm like, why isn't this the movie? Yeah. Make this the movie. But instead, it was garbage.
I knew there was a moment, because sometimes I guess... I call it like a little bit of intuition, or the fan that you are that allows you to go like, oh yeah, I kind of knew that would be a bad movie. When I saw Wolverine fly into a helicopter, I said, okay, I've got suspension of disbelief, but this is too much.
Right.
And my friends were like, no, dude, it could be okay. And I'm like, I think this movie is telling you all you need to know in that scene.
This is going to be a waste of your time and money. Logan, however, a masterpiece. Logan's money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And credit to James Mangold, because he had a first at-bat with Wolverine, with The Wolverine, which was better.
Okay. Yeah.
It still
better
didn't
than
feel
Wolverine.
Great. But I did realize, though, that my wife and I have been together for over 15 years now, because I could tell when she was with me with X-Men, The Last Stand, and I swear to God, you can chart the amount of times that we've gone to see a movie like that, and she's gone like, I'm sorry, babe. And like patting me on the back of the movie, and me being like, because we did that with Dark Phoenix as well, where she's just like, oh, they fucked it up again for you. Oh no.
These things that you love, look what they've done. Yeah, that's a great partner to have, by the way, who has your back like that.
I mean, listen, you know what the worst part is? She was going to put on Dark Phoenix the other day, and she's like, oh, you wouldn't watch that. I was like, you know what my problem is with these movies? You put them on, I can't turn them off. Because I find something.
I have to sit there and watch. Yep, absolutely. Regrettably, I will. I'm with you. I'll find something to watch. It's maddening.
Now, I took a look back there as well, and I saw there was also Super Mario Brothers stuff. I see. Yes. Is that a Mike Tyson Punch Out, or what is that? There's a gentleman who's a boxer.
That is Clubber Lang, Mr. T, Rocky 3.
Oh my God.
That is a Clubber Lang figure. That is.
And what's his scenario? Because is he next to a stormtrooper here?
He is next to the Sith Trooper, the off-world Jawa, and he's hanging with Jabba the Hutt. And then behind him is Schwarzenegger in Predator. That's who's behind Dutch. And then we got Hella, and then there's a whole lot going on there. There's a whole lot. This is just a. This is my cabinet right here. This is my no rhyme or reason room.
Okay,
that's what that is.
Perfect. Because the thing is,
throw everybody.
When you go from that much detail in the X-Men, and then you go like, well, I guess where does Clever Lang really makes the most sense?
Nailing this in. This is the mailed in. Like there's the Nintendo purple 8-bit Jason Voorhees is back there. This is just the whatever. That's like the I'm gonna my next diorama. So that's the first one, right? The X-Men one that you see. The next one I want to do is I want to take all my Spider-Men and do like an Into the Spider-Verse where they're Miles, Peter, and Gwen. They're just all there fighting a bunch of villains. That's probably going to be somewhere over here. And then up top, I want to take the rest of them and have a giant battle royale for the Infinity Gauntlet. That's my other idea. So that's what I'm going to try to be doing here.
This is, you know what the best part is? When you're in like 30 or 40 years and you're at the retirement home, they're going to be like, he's good. Just give him some action figures, and he's got a full day ahead of himself.
He needs nothing else. That's all we need. Just go.
So Jerry, tell me about this. Do you remember your first action figure? Because I think that holds a lot of significance for a lot of people, because I think it tells us not only a little bit about you, but why it was so important you have these.
Now, the first one that I remember, right, that I really remember like getting and being really excited about was my mom's boyfriend, who was like my dad. He was great. I had gotten my first report card, like the first one, and it was good. I did well, and so here you go. He brought home the evil Decepticon jet Skywarp and the heroic Bumblebee Autobot. So I remember they probably were my first ones, but those are the ones I was the most excited. I'll never forget when I opened them, I just lost my mind. And then that kind of course, the He-Man and G.I. Joe was Thundercats all around that same time. You know what I mean? It just, But I really distinctly remember being the most excited when I opened up those two.
Because I'll tell you, the ones that hurt me the most, like my parents were great. They got me all the things I wanted. But I would tell you one that didn't feel great, but I knew they tried, even at a young age, was when they got me the knockoff Voltron. And I looked at it, and I was like, this isn't, this is the dollar store Voltron, Mom. Like, go back. Spend a few dollars. Let's invest. This will have long-term benefits.
It's a better. See, I loved them all. I remember, because my family is from Laredo, Texas, right there by the border. And so when I was a little kid, we'd go across the border, and if my aunt or something couldn't afford to get me the WWF figures, they would get me the knockoff Mexican versions, and I was still like, it's kind of like Hulk Hogan. So I was like, all right, that's fine. I was okay. I found a way to okay, I guess this is what we got. I was one of the kids who didn't mind GoBots either. I know a lot of kids hated GoBots. I didn't mind getting GoBots. I'm like, these are more cars that turn into robots, I'm good. Yeah, I know they're not Transformers, but they can mingle. I can have these dudes mingle with my Transformers.
Absolutely.
It's fine.
Yeah, Senor de Hulk is just as good as Hulk Hogan. Like, everybody knows that. For me, though, I was just, like, from a young age, I think this stuck with me, because my wife hates this, is that I don't return gifts. You know, like, I just don't have that mechanism. Like, if you give me a gift, I usually tend to keep it.
I'm keeping. Agreed. Yeah, it's here. It's like, well, what am I going to do? Yeah, I'm going to keep it. Yeah.
But you have a great, like, listen, your things are telling stories. You know, even if you get some weird ass thing, I'm sure you could look at it and be like, well, I guess you're going to go in the Undertaker section. So, okay.
Oh, yeah. There'll be room for something over here. Absolutely. I will make room. Yeah, absolutely. I'll find room for something. No question. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We have some things to catch up on because there's been a lot that's happened to you since I saw you last. I want to say you went on Conan after you went on our show. What was that experience like, man? Because that's got to be cool.
No. First off, my late night debut was with you. Let's not get it. Let's not twist it. It was amazing. It was so much fun. It was a shameless plug. You can still look it up. Just Google my name on Conan, Jerry Rocha Conan. You can watch it. It was amazing. Like it was, and it was funny. But what it helped tremendously was before that, way before that, I was at the Comedy Magic Club doing a show, and Gary Shandling was just there. And I was so in awe, I didn't want to say anything. So I just kind of listened. But another comic had said, hey, I'm about to do late night. Do you have any advice? And I just remember perking up going, better listen to this. You know what I mean? Like, let me just, And he said, just remember, you're playing to the studio audience. Try to ignore the camera. Just think of it as another gig at another comedy club. And you're playing to that studio audience, and that helped tremendously. And it was just something about that was just hearing that really, like when I was behind the curtain waiting to have my name announced and walk out. That's just kind of what stuck with me, and it helped a lot. Yeah,
man,
it was an amazing, great dude, and it was fun. Yeah.
I love this that even in like a passerby moment, you have a Gary Shandling moment because you hear those stories now with Judd Apatow and, you know, all these people like leading that charge of saying like, oh my God, he read my work. He did this. Like I'm sitting in a car listening to a podcast of being like, where the fuck was he when I needed him? Gary Shandling, you come back. I don't allow you to die, you dick. I need you now. You know, and
I need some advice, dude.
Like, but I knew that about him. And I think one of the funniest things that Conan said about him on his podcast was, Conan was hosting the Emmys. Gary Shandling said, let me see your cue cards, and was like, okay. And he's like, not this one, this, here, this. And it's just like, this is a very rare beast. Not everybody does a late night thing, but when you have those two people that are like 1%er of 1%ers, it's like, holy shit.
Come on, right?
That's so cool.
It's incredible. Yeah.
So
that's great.
So you went on Conan. That was amazing. Then you started, I believe, your podcast, or was that before or after?
Yeah.
Conan?
It was before. Yeah, it was. Did it for a little bit before, and then I kind of stopped doing it. And then after Conan, I'm like, you know what? I want to do this again. So I started again, the Ramble, and then still going. Now I got my buddy Eddie Pence on it. He's a regular, great comedian, and my friend Cody in San Antonio, Cody Villafania. So the three of us do it. It's great. And then and that's been really fun. It's just, and I always look at podcasts as a great way to. When I did it by myself, now that I get to riff with my buddies, it's a little different. It's still really fun. But I remember the one benefit to doing a podcast solo was it was almost like I was just trying out joke ideas. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I just at least would say it while ranting about something and then think, oh, you know what? Let me try to turn that into a bit. That definitely helped. That was great.
I had a moment where, you know, when I was doing stand-up, I love it. I love communicating with a live audience. But to really beast it, you have to travel and you have to go everywhere. And then I found with the podcast, I was like, no, I'm getting people coming to me. Oh,
yeah, it's fantastic.
Y'all come to me,
exactly.
Because if I wake up in the morning and I think it, then I can tell you what it is, and I can go about my day. You know, like as opposed to me going and traveling somewhere and being like, "Where am I? Idaho? Shit. All right."
You don't have to. stay in a condo with a borderline serial killer who's also a comedian on the show, who's like throwing a knife at a wall while snorting cocaine off a table. You're like, okay, yeah, all right. You know, you can. That's a very big benefit,
especially when you like get questioned a little bit later, and you get that Dateline episode questionnaire where you're like, "Oh, I've never seen." You know, they didn't seem like the kind. It's like you were quoted in one podcast as saying they were serial killers.
That's true. It's funny too. There's so many moments where I was like, "Shit, I'm gonna die." Like, there's been at least 10 moments on the road. 3 or 4 where it came close. 6 or 7 was like, "Ooh, that wow." There was, oh man, it was wild. Some wild times out there.
So let's talk about this. What is the secret for you? Like, so if somebody's never listened to your show, what is the premise behind it? And then what is the secret to having a good show?
My podcast or my stand-up show?
Let's go with podcast. I don't want to give away the magic on your stand-up. The magic on the stand-up is always like, hey, I figured it out. I'm not seeing him anymore.
Right. I don't know if it's a secret. What I love about our podcast that Eddie and Cody and I do is we just talk about what we love. I think that helps. You know, it's just to geek out on shit that you love, whether it's fantasy football, whether it's MMA, whether it's the Transformers, Star Wars video game, whatever you love, you geek out on it. And I think that if it's a secret, it's just make sure you're yourself in your podcast. And it's kind of the same with comedy, because people can smell bullshit, you know, and they can smell when someone's kind of faking it. And some people get by faking it because they're just doing such broad, you know, easy to low-hanging fruit topics that you can kind of get away with faking it. But I think for us, it's like, you know, the people who listen to it are nerds, and they know that we're genuine nerds, you know. And even when we talk football, because the three of us are massive sports fans, our nerdy fans aren't turned off because they can feel the passion. So like, hey, at least they get it. At least they're into it. So, and I also think engagement is a big deal too. We love doing shout outs. We love reading emails from listeners, stuff like that. I think I think just be yourself and engage with the people who give enough of a shit to, you know, to download your podcast.
Absolutely. I would tell you this. When you say fantasy football, there is a distinct memory I have of the end of my show when you came live, where I was no longer important because it was you and my Ed McMahon, if you would, Austin Sack.
Yes.
Who is a huge Patriots fan, and you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. And to me, I would rather that a giant bomb were to get rid of both of you, but yet here I was, the host, trying to corral like two teams where I'm like, I hate both of your teams. And yet here I am being like, well, then I just sat back and I was like, kill each other. Like, listen, and I literally realized later when someone came up to me, and I had multiple people tell me this, but I had some people come up to me and they were like, you know, you could have just left. And I was like, I know. But at the same point, there's a part of me that's a sports fan that's like, well, let's have it out, gents. Who's this?
Yep.
What's your issue? So when you say that you're going to talk fantasy football, to me, I just wonder, how do you rein that in? Because fantasy football is not the same as having a sports team to root for.
Well, I said fantasy football in a broad statement. It's just like a topic. I can't stand it. I'll never do fantasy football.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm such a rabid Cowboys fan. I can't be like, well, I want the Cowboys to win, but my quarterback is with the Giants, so I hope he throws for like, fuck you. Nope, I have to go full on. If my team were nothing but Dallas Cowboys, okay. That's the only way I could do it. Which defeats the purpose.
That would also make you cry a lot, I guess, given their record, but that's okay.
Oh, I get destroyed every week. Yeah, I would get destroyed every week, but...
Now,
yeah, like that's
what make you of some Dallas Cowboys who recently decided to go have some funsies that then
unreal
brought the attention of the higher ups who are like, could you not
throw a fucking party when everyone's under quarantine and the fucking deadliest flu in the past 100 years has shown up? Could you maybe? Yeah, it's like unbelievable. I was so like, oh God, really? I was just like, God, really? That was it. That's all I could think. Like, God damn it. That's what we need. That's just what they fucking need.
I don't know if you ever feel this way, but for me, anything Los Angeles teams based, I wake up in the morning and I just kind of look at my phone and I'm like, no, I don't need this shit today. God damn it. I didn't need fucking one of the big baller brand morons to fucking speak out. I got nothing to do with them. They're just in LA. What am I supposed to fucking do with this?
Oh, that's great. So do you go, what LA teams are you?
So
because there's multiple to choose from here.
So it's very interesting because you have the opposite version of my stance, which is for years on the NFL, I could get away with not having a team because, and this is a very big because, for the NFL,
okay, all right,
for this reason. There was no teams here. So my NFL team was my fantasy football team. So therefore, I could use the gambler part of my brain and be like, nope, goodbye, heart. No one cares. And just literally be like, fuck you. I'm going to pick this guy up, even if it meant the worst. Okay, so that we go there. When I grew up as a kid, I loved the 49ers. But when I went to college, there was a little issue of them sucking so hard and me not even having the time to watch. Like, I was competing in speech and debate, so I didn't even get the chance to watch. So if I sat down for like 10 minutes to watch the game, I would just be sitting there going like, oh, fuck me. No, I can't deal with this right now. So, you know, when the 49ers have had a resurgence lately, I can't even sit there and be like, that's my team, you know? But I've always rooted for whoever's closest to LA. And if there are two teams who are closest to me, then I do this. I act like a stepdad in a family that's making you vie for his love. So I'm like, whoever brings home daddy a championship, then daddy will give the most attention to. So there are some years where I was like, the Angels are fucking my team, y'all. And then the next year I'm like, Clippers are fucking it up. The Clippers, no, I never have seen the Clippers. I don't know who they are right now. But I grew up in a very different way with sports, which is that I love sports, but I don't let sports consume me. So
that's smart.
It is, but it's also why, you know, I do MMA or jiu-jitsu kind of training, and I have a lot of friends right now who can't deal with it. And they're just like, if we don't have sports, what do we have left? And I was like, I would hope you have a family and friends and other things to live for.
Sex, you try getting laid. I don't know. Give that a whirl.
Like when they canceled one of the UFCs, they're like, what do I have to live for? And I was like, I don't know, bro. Tuesday? Like anything?
How sad is that? Get the fuck out. Wait, okay, look, here's the thing. You know when I start to worry? When they cancel that fucking Taco Bell taco with the Doritos. That's what worry. If that's still out there, we're going to be fine. If you can still get that Doritos Loco taco, shut the fuck up. You're going to be okay.
That, you know what? That's the color scheme for our nation. That's how you know the terrorist attacks are. They're like, is the shell off the Doritos Locos taco? Because if so, we're canceled as a nation. Well, let's get into this. I mean, how has the coronavirus affected you? Because, you know, for comics, it means we can't perform live in front of audiences. But
and God,
yeah. But what does that mean for you now?
It's weird. It's the only thing that it's affected. The obviously, you know, the fact that it's a global tragedy is number one, right? And then it goes, okay, how does it affect you if you don't have it, or if you don't know anyone who's fighting it or dealing with it or has passed away from it? Then the other thing is like, yeah, it's like I just worry, are comedy clubs ever going to reopen? That's the first thought that goes into my head every morning. I still write jokes, obviously. I can't not do that. You know, I still I'm just excited for when it happens again. That's kind of the mindset I'm going to be in, is just be excited for when I can go do comedy again and try not to get too bummed out. It's funny, but just being quarantined at home, I'm used to it, because this is like when I'm on the road. When I'm on the road, all I do is stay in my fucking hotel and nothing. Now it's the same scenario, except I have my girlfriend and my cat, so it's easier, you know, and that's been fine. It was sad, but remember when that psycho shot up everybody in Vegas at that concert from his hotel? Dude, when they were talking about it, the authorities were like, well, the hotel staff was a little worried about the guy because the entire week he was there, he had his do not disturb sign. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's every time I'm in Vegas, the whole week, I got my do not disturb sign on the fucking door. I just go to eat, I go to do my show, and I'm back in my room, and I don't give a shit. That's so it's like I'm sad. The years of doing the road and just like enjoying just being a homebody. I found a way to enjoy being a homebody while making a living traveling, and that is just learn to accept whatever nice hotel, nice condo, shitty condo that you're in, make it your home and be comfortable with it. And so that's what I've always learned to do. And I think it's made this quarantine just a little easier in a way. Yeah. Of course you still get a little stir crazy sometimes, but yeah. And I just, I obviously want everyone to stay safe and just hope that, the vaccination comes way sooner than they think it will, which I doubt, and that we can somewhat. I don't know. I think some comedy clubs are going to be okay, like those mega improvs and stuff are probably going to be all right because they can actually technically social distance a lot easier because they can seat 600 people. So it's easier. 300 are here. Fine, we can divide it all up to where all the tables are a pretty decent, amount, apart from each other, whatever. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens for sure.
I feel bad because I don't want to burst people's bubbles and think like, it's going to be some sort of party that we're all like, yo, we did it. End of the world was over on Tuesday. Show up. We're going to have the end of the coronavirus party. Like, nah, bro, we'll be lucky if we get 20 people to start. And then, when we go up to 40 people, we got to be like, whoa, where are they? And that's for the next year and a half.
All right. Absolutely. So I don't know what's going to happen with live comedy. Of course, it's going to come back. Yeah. I just don't know how long and in how it's going to look. None of the clubs that we know might be it might be a whole new chain that starts. I have no idea. I mean, I hope they're all around, obviously, but
absolutely,
it's frightening. It's scary.
It is. Well, let's talk about this because I want to talk about how I believe, and again, I'm going through the trajectory in my head. I believe that the podcast then gave way to you doing more stuff on Twitch and your YouTube channel, which is now you're playing video games.
Yeah.
And that's the shirt we're wearing here. Because I want to make sure people know if you're wearing this merch.
Shameless plug.
It's never
shameless plug.
What are you talking about, dude? If I go on other people's podcasts, I'm the first person to wear my brand shirt. Because if I don't wear it, who the fuck is? So fuck off.
Right, exactly. These aren't for sale. I just have this. So this is like, and it's funny, before Corona, this was my plan, was I was going to go to like retro video game swap meets and Comic-Cons and stuff like that and just wear this and be, hey, what's that? Oh, well, like if anyone were to ask. But so it actually started, my girlfriend's sister-in-law was like, you should do Twitch. You should do, that because all he does is play video games. I was like, nah, Twitch isn't for me. I'm like, nah, I'm good. And then I just started. Then I thought, well, my girlfriend got me for Christmas 2 Christmases ago this thing called an Analog Super NT, and it's this machine that plays every Super Nintendo game, but it upscales it to 4K, so it looks great on modern television. Like it's still the same graphics, but they don't look blurry or fuzzy or weird. It just it kind of reminds you of playing it on your old TV as a kid, right? So. And so I thought, well, I have this, and I thought maybe, and I just every time I play video games, it's like I always make jokes about the game that I'm playing. I always laugh at how absurd those 80s and 90s plot lines were, and and then so I thought, and then I got a green screen for Christmas this most recent Black Friday. And I'm like, why not? So I thought, since I have a green screen, I went and got a little capture card, and I have that little player. So I just started doing this thing called Retro Rocha on YouTube, where it's once every 2 weeks. I as my friend Steve Hallis, really great comic, described it, like it's a John Oliver segment, right, about an old video game. So it's about a 8 to 6 minute video where I just kind of riff on an old game. And then every day, what I'm hoping to do during quarantine, and maybe even when it's over, like when I'm back out on the road and stuff, I'll probably take all the equipment with me, and every night I Twitch. So what I'll do is I'll just pick a game, and I'll play it for about 35 minutes on Twitch, and I die a lot, so it's pretty funny for the people watching, And
to be fair, before we had touched base, I was kind of looking around, and I was like, all right, let's see how these go. And then when I saw you die a couple times, I was like, Well, he's gonna have a good sense of humor about this, so that's good. Because I gotta tell you, man, one of the segments that I was doing, because my struggle is always, we have a good base with MMA and jiu-jitsu folks, and they've followed us. They like to see what I do, so when I put on the suit, it's usually my way of being like, it's not that show, it's the other show. But I always try to bring them a little broad, because we're a little niche, you know? We're not the NFL, we're not the NBA. So I got this video game thing, this all-in-one retro gamer with the old arcade joysticks.
Yep.
And I just had a theory, which was, if I put that out, given how competitive these dorks are, let's see what happens. And it's been magic, dude. Just magic. The only thing that's a little weird is I have it sitting, like, it's right next to my TV right now, and yet I'm like, it's now gotten to the point where the coronavirus, where I'm like, do I play that now? Like, now I bought that for other people, but now, like, you know, I got 30 minutes to kill, and I don't remember.
I can't have a video game system near me and not turn it on. Like, there's no way.
Understood.
I would have to. I'm just, okay, I gotta go play this.
Well, let me ask you this. What has been the most enjoyable game to return back to? Because some of these games don't hold up. And the ones that do, where you're like, holy shit, DuckTales the game, I'll play that shit still any day.
Still one of the best soundtracks in any fucking video game is that DuckTales.
Moon gets stuck in my head multiple times.
Come on. A buddy of mine, Aaron Marsh, recommended me. I don't know if you heard about this. There's a band called M as in Mary, E-S.
Yes.
Have you heard of them?
I have heard of them.
System, oh my god, they're amazing, and they do these mariachi versions of video game songs. They do Moon. It's incredible. Like, there's just so much. God, you know, this is kind of an easy answer because they're legendary for a reason, right? But on my Twitch stream, I've been trying to 100% Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, and that is one that I forgot how tremendous it was. Does that make sense? Like, I remember loving the game when I was young, but replaying it, I'm like, this thing still holds up. It's still, like, I think any kid, if you gave it to them right now, they would fall head over heels in love with it and be like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I think the same way for the Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, Super Metroid. There's been there's some ones that aren't as famous. There's one called UN Squadron, which is a shooter for the Super Nintendo. It's incredible. It's still hold. Bionic Commando for the NES. That was still so much fun to play. I just put out a video on that one today. It just dropped today. By Bionic Commando Retro Rocha, where I talk about that. I had no idea. Okay, so I'll tell you this real quick. Minor spoiler tease for the video if anyone wants to watch it. Go find me on YouTube, Jerry Rocha. It's called Retro Rocha. And then if you don't mind plugging on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Retro Rocha. But on Bionic Commando, dude. So a buddy of mine, a kid I knew in the neighborhood, had it in the apartment complex I grew up in Dallas. And we would go over there, and every time I would play it, he would already be like halfway through the game. So he was, hey, can you try to help me get past this jump? We would just both try to, you know. So I knew how to play the game, but I knew nothing about the story. And when I played it, I was like, I don't know if you knew this, but the actual title, do you remember Bionic Commando?
Yes, I do.
The guy had the fucking... The original title is called Top Secret, Hitler's Revival. The fucking game, they resurrect Hitler, and I was just... And so I'm playing... Not knowing any of this, because they scrubbed all the Nazi shit in America, because I'm sure, you know, Capcom knew... Like 90% of the kids in America still have a dad, uncle, older brother who love Hitler. You know what I mean? So you don't want to offend them. And trust me, these neo-Nazis are the most easily offended group on the face of the earth. They're going to call school shootings hoaxes. That's how fucking... Anyway, but Hitler is the villain. The main boss is a 6'8" topless Hitler. And I was like, what the fuck? Couldn't believe it. And you blow him up. Like, his head explodes like JFK when you destroy him. It's fucking amazing. Like, that one took me completely off guard. I was like, what the fuck, Hitler? Like, it was wild.
I gotta tell you, man, there's so much that I have stored in here that I just kind of, like, put into, like, secret folders. So, like, on YouTube, you'll look around and you'll go, oh, they'll be like, things you didn't know about Super Mario Brothers 2. And I was like, I don't know, I pretty much know everything about Super Mario Brothers 2. 40 minutes later, oh, right, yeah. Yeah, that wasn't the same princess. Oh, yeah. And they screwed that from a different game. Oh, all right, well, oops.
Actually, here comes my big. If my girlfriend, she's working right now, but if she weren't on a work call, she would run in and scream "Nerd Alert" at me. But the Austin Powers Nerd Alert. But yeah, she. It was actually a game called Doki Doki Panic.
Yeah.
And the original Super Mario Brothers 2 is the one that they eventually released later called the Lost Levels.
Yep.
But they felt it was too similar to Part 1, so they just reskinned this completely different game. It just threw Mario, Peach, Toad, and Luigi, and like instead of Bowser, you have that weird the transgender fucking pink dinosaur thing that shoots eggs at you like Birdo. Like they just like fuck it, we're switching shit up over here.
I just like the worst part is like to me, especially the way you see it in documentary form or re-explaining form, I guess you should say, is how they're just kind of like, all right, let's try and fill in those gaps that as kids you just kind of said, I don't care. But now as an adult, you're like, I don't understand what happened. There's just a weird lost footage file folder here. Oh, God. But you know what, though? It's been wonderful to watch you do those games and to do those things because, again, man, I think it's a fun vibe. You do a good job of combining, I think, what is a good season comedy vibe to, I think, something that the kids are doing, which is everybody's playing video games and everybody wants that content. And half the time they want to feel like they're playing with you. And I think that's the best way to bring people in, which essentially is what we try to do at a club.
Absolutely. Just welcome to our world, welcome to our heads for a little bit, and hope you enjoy it. And that's it. And that's what I'm doing with this is like, that again, like for decades, people have been doing a great job posting, playthroughs of video games on YouTube or Twitch and stuff like that. And I just thought, I'm not going to try to be what they're doing. Let me do it a little different. Let me just act like, especially on my YouTube, the Retro Rocha on YouTube, these are just 8-minute segments. It's just a comedy segment where I'm riffing on a game and that's it. And, and then with Twitch, the jokes write themselves as you watch how terrible I'm dying every time. Like, so many times I sacrificed Yoshi just to jump to a ledge, just shit like that. Like, yeah.
You know what, though? Yoshi knew if he wasn't down for the cause, he wouldn't show up magically.
Come on. Right. Exactly. Thank you. See? Now I feel better.
Yeah, listen, I've seen those beautiful images of people being like, well, what about Yoshi? And I was like, yo, Yoshi the third probably could have figured it out and been like, I'm not going to do this, bro. You go jump that way yourself.
Yeah, this asshole doesn't really care about me. I'm not going to pop out of this egg.
Like, equally as bad of a read on Yoshi's part as it is Mario's decision making. So let's be very clear.
100% agree with you.
Well, Jay, I'm so happy we were able to catch up. I know you just did it, but I want you to do it one more time. For those who are watching, tell the people where they can find your stuff, my friend.
Oh, yeah. I have my podcast called The Ramble, which you can find anywhere you get podcasts. I have my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Retro Rocha, like that. And then on YouTube, just look me up on YouTube, just YouTube Jerry Rocha, and then my little video game thing is called Retro Rocha. There you go. I appreciate it.
It's like a combination of Mark Marrow and Macho Man Randy Savage right there. When I see that Retro Rocha, I'm like,
yeah, you got it.
It's got an old school vibe that I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that's definitely some good shit there, my friend.
That's comedian Eddie Pence came up with this. My podcasting partner, my brother, he did this. So yeah, good on him.
I love it so much. All right, we usually like to leave on this, so I'm asking all the comedians, all the people who got a great sense of humor to give us a little bit of a way out of this. So tell us, what is the best advice that you've got for people going through what they're going through right now until we get through this coronavirus, sir?
Okay, look, this is, if there's ever been a time to really enjoy and make an event out of masturbating, this is your time. There it is. See, yeah, it's pleasurable. Supposedly it boosts the immune system. I mean, what else do you need? Enjoy jerking off. Dude, that's it. This is what you can do now. Is really, I mean, who doesn't enjoy it? But now you can make it into an art form. That's my advice.
I don't know what articles you didn't cross-reference. I think that the first time somebody read that jerking off can actually build up your immune system, nobody said, let me see another scientist that backed that up. We just go, we're done here.
No second opinion needed. I'm good. Ain't catching Corona tonight.
Science is 100% foolproof.
And then, now this might be, for some, it might be masturbating. But, and this is just my tip throughout life. If you're ever feeling down, if you're ever feeling bummed out, go remember what the shit you were into when you were 10 years old. Just look it up. If it was a cartoon you loved, a movie you loved, a video game, watch it again. I'm telling you, it's going to help. That's a great way to deal with being bummed out. 1,000%. And of course, jerking off. But let's, just for the
try to do them at different times, because then it gets really weird. And
it's really weird.
I think that's when people start calling on you and being like, he didn't actually take off that don't disturb sign the entire time he was in there. But I'm pretty sure I saw him jerking off G.I. Joe.
He just money shot the cast of Fern Gully. This is not good. No wonder we're going to call the cops on this piece of shit right now.
Well, Jay, I can't thank you enough for tuning in with us. We appreciate you catching up. It's been too long, man, and I'm so glad that we're able to do fun things like this.
And thanks for still doing this, man. This is great, brother. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. That was a great episode of Early Late Night. I can't believe that we had so many great things happen. I want to thank you guys for going in and sticking around. It has been a fantastic day for us here. If you're not following us, follow us. Go give us a subscription. If you're not liking us, give us a like. Give us a heart. Give us one of those little symbols on the bottom. Anyone except for the sad face. Or the angry face, I guess. Those are the two I don't want. Anyway, thank you so much for watching with us. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Be safe.